Hey guys, welcome back to the layout once again. Today I figured we'd just do a kind of a quick overview of the benchwork so far. So this will be focusing only on the lower level. You can see we do have a little bit of upper level benchwork in, but we're going to get to that later when we have a little more the rest of the upper level completed. So anyway, this won't go really in depth, but I just wanted to, I've been doing a lot of construction videos and kind of more detailed looks at individual sections of the layout, but I figured I'd tie that all together by just taking a look at the layout as a whole right now. And eventually, as I mentioned, when we get more upper level in, we'll look at that too. So I apologize for the mess, but sorry, those are my dogs. But we're just gonna go ahead and do this anyway because I think you get the idea whether it's clean or dirty. So anyway, the lower level we're using mostly 1x2 boards. In this yard area, you can see that we also have plywood on top because we just knew this was all going to be flat. So this is all 3/16 of an inch plywood, which is really thin, but I think we have enough support underneath it to kind of warrant plywood that is that thin. Excuse me. You also see that we have some legs down there. Those are also 1x2s. I have yet to reinforce them, so I want to do some angled braces from the legs just to kind of solidify them. But the reason for legs over here instead of angled braces is that we wanted all the space under here for storage, and if we do angled braces it cuts up the spaces that we have, and we just wanted this to be one fluid open section. So that's not really, that doesn't really have anything to do with the actual benchwork construction, but I just wanted to point out why we're using legs there. So then over here we have our lift out bridge. This is connected by just a couple of track bus wires underneath, and these are just simple kind of RC car battery connectors that we just soldered together. And then these, if you can see this, those just unplug nicely. So we have a male and female plug here, and when you unplug those, this thing just slides right out. You can see where the joint is. I have yet to install the other tracks along here, and I also need to do a few adjustments here, but it actually turned out pretty nicely. So if you want to check this out in more depth, I do have a how-to video on making this. I still haven't done a video on the electronics part of it, but I do have a video on this, and there will be another one coming up at some point if you want to see that in more depth. And then over here we start the cookie cutter style sub road bed. Again, I apologize for the mess behind, just kind of ignore the clutter of the workbench. But this is actually just recycled particle board that we had from our old layout. So this is about 3/4 of an inch thick. So we just kind of wanted to see what the contour of the track would be, and then really I just took a pencil, rough sketched it, cut this out, and then you can see there's the joint. We just built another section up to that point. Again, the base framework in here is just simple 1x2 grid frames. You can see there's just a square frame, goes all the way to the back of the wall there, and back there's the other corner. But what we've done is extended the frame depth by just bringing another 1x2 across the top. So this is actually, this portion right here is just suspended in the air, but there's enough support from that leg that you see right there. So then, since this kind of swept over the corner here, we added an angled brace there. And at this point, the benchwork is on risers, made out of, in this case, 1x4s here. And the reason for that is this will allow us to have some scenery contours that wouldn't be available if we used just a flat plywood sheet. So in this section, for example, we actually start our 1.5% grade going uphill here, but over here is going to be our engine facility that comes off of the yard lead on the lift out, and that's just going to be level. There's going to be no grade. So right about over here, we're about half an inch already above the track level over there. So what we might do is just have a little tiny retaining wall, maybe a parking lot or something. But again, the reason for the risers and the reason that we dropped the main frame is so we can have some scenery below track level. So anyway, continuing along here, instead of doing the free cut particle board, this is just a 1x3 section in here. And you can see we've kind of got like a spine design, kind of a skeleton, where we have these little pieces underneath the sub road bed. And the reason for that is this will be the mounting face for the fascia when we bring it up. So we don't have any fascia done yet, but we'll be working on that soon. But this will work as the other place that we can screw the fascia board to. And then we'll just fill in scenery with foam or whatever on either side of this. So that's why we have those pieces on either side underneath the track. And then coming over here, we get our first glimpse of angled braces. So this, from above looks pretty clean. There aren't any legs to it. This is one of the more complicated sections. It's made out of 1x2s, but as you can see on the front we actually have a 1x4 face, because what we did then, we took a 2x4 and just kind of cut it in a wedge configuration there, and that squared up our drop bridge, so this drops at a 90-degree angle, or it's perpendicular to this instead of at an angle. You see it connects over here, and then we have our hinge underneath there. So this is kind of complicated, but you know, it all worked out. And all we did really was pull this is actually a 1x4 now as a sub roadbed. This 1x4 used to be one piece, but we just, you know, severed it there. So anyway, we still need to touch up the mechanism here, and we're also going to eventually wind up having to make contact pads, both for track power and the RJ12, or I guess it's RJ7 power bus wires, so we can resume current through here. So we'll be fiddling around with that a little more, but that's where we're at right now. So continuing this way, we still have more cookie cutter sub roadbed, more 1x2 construction, and here we have a 1x4 frame, so I apologize that's in the way, but we're kind of experimenting with 1x4s on the upper level. And this is really our first regular curved piece. Again, more stuff in the way, I apologize, but this radius here is actually 26 inches, and I will be uploading a video on how to cut a set radius just from particle board or plywood or whatever. So doing that kind of by freehand is kind of difficult, but if you have the right tools and all that, it's pretty simple. So anyway, again, just more examples of risers. You can see we've actually fed the bus wires through these risers, and all we did is just, you know, drill through even after they were installed, and then just fed the bus wires through there. And over here is a good example of track feeders. You can see they go up from the track there through the sub roadbed and connect to the track bus. Eventually it's going to get more complicated with localized track buses and you know, block detection and all that, but right now we just have the main track bus. And then coming this way, our sub roadbed actually turns into a 1x6 board. And the reason for that is because we're eventually going to have a track continue off that way, and we needed some face here to build that off of. So it's kind of covered up here because I got some cardboard on top of it, but this is a 1x6, and eventually we're going to fill in all the space from the edge of this 1x6 back with some sort of plywood, because this is going to be our large industrial area, and this is where we will have a bunch of industrial tracks, and then all have to be level. So in here there actually is no grade, but the grade starts to go down grade right about where the curve starts, and then it resumes 1.5% upgrade right about where that grain hopper is. So again, coming over here, we have more of the recycled particle board that just kind of sweeps this way, so this is kind of a cool S-curve. And then we come around the corner here, the big curve. This is our big peninsula, another 26-inch radius. And one thing I didn't point out is, again, we're still using that 1x2 open grid benchwork design. You can see we have some angled braces under there for this section, so it looks pretty clean, no legs under there. Eventually we'll get rid of those big braces for the peninsula frame. But what we've used down here on the end is actually an L-girder design, so it's kind of tough to see, but if you step back you can kind of get a sense that there's one main kind of rectangular L-girder frame, which basically just means that this is an L configuration. You can see that 1x4 with a 1x2 on top just creates an L-girder. Then on top of that, we've mounted some 1x4 cross pieces. And it's kind of tough to see, but if you come over here, you get a better look of it. These just kind of cut across the middle. Then we mount our risers to that. Still got to add a couple of risers there. But then over here, you can see we actually put another piece, another L-girder in the middle of this rectangular frame. So this cuts across the middle, and then from that, we mounted a few radial 1x4 pieces, and that just made it easy to match the contour of the curve there. So eventually, this will act as a mounting face for the fascia, and it just matches the contour of this curve here, which is pretty nice. So again, on all these things I'm talking about, I have individual videos, but I just wanted to kind of bring it all together. So if you want to see this in more detail, look back through the construction videos, or I can refer them to you if you're unsure which video contains this specific section. But anyway, over here, more of the same construction method, and here we've resumed the 1x2 grid construction like we had on the other side. This just goes straight to the wall. We have our sub roadbed still rising here. Again, In this section we have a 1x6 because we're going to have their main line and a siding. So this will hold 2 tracks. We got our risers underneath, and again, angled braces underneath this section. And I just thought, you know, zoom in there, that gives you a sense of the transition between the L girder and the 1x2 grid frame. And you can actually see, if you get down at this level, the frame on the other side is actually significantly lower than it is over here. So every so often, probably every 20 feet of track, we bring the frame closer to track height so we don't have such tall risers. But you can see there's a fairly significant gap there, only because on the other side, if you look through there, the top of this 1x4 actually matches up with the top of this 1x2 frame that you see through there. Kind of tough to see, but just thought I'd point that out. So on this side, you can also see how we constructed our peninsula frame. This is basically just a 2x4 wall that we framed up. So these are basically just studs that you'd put behind a wall, except what we've done is reoriented them so that the 2x4s are flat now. And the reason for that was mainly to save space, but it also gave us more opportunities to screw in. That's not a good example, but like here, we could put 2 screws in the face there. Whereas we couldn't do that since we're using 1x2s. We couldn't do one screw above the other. So to remedy that, we did the 2x4s flat ways, and that way we can put 2 screws next to each other through the 1x2 frame. So the peninsula frame just ends right here, because what's going to happen is there isn't going to be really any peninsula structure going to the wall, since the backdrop's going to curve that way. So eventually we'll have some sort of 1x2 post that runs up from the ground here, and then the peninsula backdrop will curve that way, and the tracks will eventually continue off here and go through the wall. So the lower level still isn't done yet, but I figured it might just be interesting to take a look at the Benchwork construction, and gives you a pretty good sense of where we're at. And again, eventually, once we get, actually very soon, once we get a little more Benchwork done here and move on to the upper level, I'll do another Benchwork overview of the upper level, and I'll probably check in again with the lower level, since, you know, we haven't done things like fascia or the backdrop yet. So we'll have to take a look at that. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that. It was just kind of I guess not really quick, I went over time, but an overview of the Benchwork as of now. So as always, guys, thank you for watching, and look for more videos soon.